Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's stream. One game for you tonight. You may have noticed we have a very special loading screen for tonight's game. Tonight's game will be between Team Chili's Angels, looking to end their first round robin with a 6-1 record, which would at worst tie them for second place in the league. And they will be playing Team Pokey on a two-game win streak themselves at 3-2 on the season. But the reason why we have what Pentaquant so vividly describes as a movie poster for a gay porn film that's on the discount shelf is this is a matchup of two weak side top laners and good friends in Rahul, sensual Rahul, on the left, and Agent SA, aka Sam Lee, on the right. So once we kind of get into the game tonight, we'll learn more about this very special relationship. Don't you miss it. We are slated to start at 8 p.m., which is in approximately 2 minutes. So I will check in with both teams shortly. We will get the lobby made, and then we're going to play some League of Legends. Okay, should you bet all your channel points on Rahul or Sam? Asks Sang B.
Hello.
What's up? What's up? Is that Chungus?
It is. Is,
What
is
up,
there
Chung?
the one in like a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get on my computer.
Okay,
I'll be back.
cool. Uh, so Sang, I think this is a question of do you have big balls or not? All right. Now the safe play is obviously to pick Chili's Angels because they're 5-1. They've looked very good thus far in the early season. But I think the far more entertaining bet is on Pokey. They've had their lumps. They were 1-2. They're on a bit of a hot streak, maybe even a bit of a dark horse candidate in the league. And so that's my answer for you. The safe play is probably Chili's Angels, but you know, if you put money in a GameStop and AMC, you should probably bet your points on Sam. My League of Legends, by the way, is not loading, so that is not good. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who were not here yesterday, please check out all the new things you can do with those hard-earned channel points, like throwing them away on the results of each game. You can also potentially win some channel points and redeem them for the privilege of asking your favorite players either pre-game or post-game questions. All right? So be sure to tune in, put down some channel points, maybe come away with the privilege of asking your players some questions.
Oh,
Why
I
is
might
my
have come in a little late, but can you remind us what the text command for that is?
text command? What do you mean?
Is there a text command, or how do we put a bet down, or does it
Oh,
happen?
no. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to start a prediction. I have to run it here through my
Oh,
dashboard.
I see, I
And
see.
then once the prediction is live, it'll be up for a set amount of time. And then uh, the bets will go out. And then we'll go from there.
All right, that's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm going to hold it until all the picks are in. So the viewers have the most information that they need to make their very informed betting decisions. Also,
Excellent.
these are just some of the ideas that I came up with at like 3 in the morning. If you guys have some other ideas for how best to use these channel points, I am open to any and all suggestions.
How exciting!
Indeed.
I'm really excited for this match too. The
Yeah,
match we have
Clovis.
today. That's
Yeah.
coming right up.
Yeah, you have a lot of stakes in this one, I think.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it to you actually to do a very, very special introduction.
All right.
Especially for the two candidates that we have for the pregame interview today. All right. Also joined today by Chungus on the cast after a one-game absence. So a tri-cast for tonight. We'll see where Bidao is. But okay, there's a problem because I cannot start my League of Legends application. What is going on? Let's try this one more time. I may or may not need to restart my computer if this does not open. Oh, it opened. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna check in with both teams real quick. Hopefully somebody had the initiative to make the lobby. If not, they'll make it and then we'll get it going. Hello, gamers.
Hello.
How's it
Don't give
going?
up our strat.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Hell
sir.
yeah. Sweet.
Wait, but Roger, can we get the Sam versus Rahul interview?
Yes, we can. We most definitely should.
Pre-game
So,
interview, right?
pre-game interview.
The
Yep.
and maybe post game too. We'll see how it ends up.
For sure. Yeah. Let me know who you want for the post game as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think Rahul Sam is the perfect pre-game
Pre-game.
interview.
Oh, 1000%. 1000%. Yep.
Especially with this
Especially considering
graphic.
that art that's up on the stream.
Cool. Okay,
beautiful.
I'm in the lobby. Good stuff. All right, I'm checking with Charles's team, and then we're gonna get the interviews going soon. Hello, gamers. Everybody ready?
Hey Roger, I need 1 minute.
Okay. Cool.
I'm just gonna go to the restroom.
All right. After that 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get the pre-game interviews up and going. All right, Chungus, there's the invite. Chungus.
We'll get them rolling in any minute now.
Any minute. You know, Chungus.
Shout out to our awesome
time.
audience who's patiently waiting for the start of this match.
True.
You can admire this really beautiful promotional poster while you wait.
Yes, I agree.
Brought to you by Master Artisan Jeff Great Gamer. Shout out to Jeff.
Appreciate it, Jeff. I hope you keep these coming. I know it's probably a lot of work, but if I could somehow have, some of these throughout the season, I think it'd be hilarious. Chungus, where are you, buddy? Dude, should I run a fucking ad break? Should I sell out?
An ad break.
Hell
for
yeah.
all of our 21 viewers.
Fuck yeah. Earn me like a cent or two.
Oh,
Not
man.
even a cent, I think.
Can get a Roger here a stick of gum.
Hell yeah.
Let's run a few ads.
Okay. Chungus is in the spectate client, Poggers.
I'm here.
Let's get
All
it.
right, we got him.
All right. So gonna ask for the interview candidates here, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Clovis. All right, for the interview.
I've heard that I've been called to announce my presence.
Yes, so we have our two contenders from the top lane with us today. On one side, we have Rahul Devnarayanan, the teleport titan. On the other, we have Samuel Lee, the terror of top lane. How are you feeling about this fight, Samuel Agent S.A. Lee?
Well, if you notice in the promotional materials that have been generated for this exciting match, I play the side of Anakin. And as we all know, we've all seen Revenge of the Sith, that even though Anakin loses an arm, a leg, half his face, maybe a pair of lungs, I don't know, it's unclear. Who's laughing at the end of the movie? That's right, Darth Vader.
A big storyline prediction. We'll see if it works out for you, Samuel Lee. Let's throw the mic over to Rahul D. How are you feeling, Rahul, about this upcoming challenge? Your team definitely has a comfortable position right now, but in a tournament like this, anything happen, that lead can slip away from you in an instant if you're not careful.
No, you make a great point, Clovis. We're not resting on our laurels at all. We've been hard at work, putting in the hours and going through the analysis and the preparation.
Would you say that you're perspiring?
I wouldn't say that, but I would say that we're taking this as seriously as we've taken every match so far. It's like brother man Bill Belichick says, every game is a championship game. So
I like that, and a very wholesome, positive attitude. Any final words before we close out this pre-game interview?
Yeah, I'd actually like to share some observations that come from my analysis, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give me 1 sec. I have some notes prepared. When both teams are even in gold, Samuel Lee feels that Pokey card is at a great advantage, and thus he does not hesitate to run it down top lane. When Pokey card is 3k behind in gold, Samuel Lee thinks that Pokey card is at a small advantage, and so he runs it down top lane to secure his lead. When Pokey card is behind 7k in gold, Samuel Lee thinks that Pokey card is at a disadvantage, and so he looks to run it down into the enemy fountain to regain control of the game. When Pokey card is 10k behind in gold, Samuel Lee thinks that the team has reached a desperate situation, and they are only waiting passively for their death if he does not widen the top canyon and fall face first into the dark abyss.
All right, those are fighting words. Samuel Lee, Agent SA, do you have any last words before we close out this interview?
Well, I noticed that you quoted a certain Bill Belichick in your speech. Now, I don't know if you were aware, but the Patriots actually failed to make the playoffs this year after a extremely strong record season. So I don't know where you're getting your role models from, but you might want to look at that just a little bit.
There you have it, folks. Let's make this a clean fight. When you're ready, touch gloves, and you can go back to your corners. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you for that, Clovis. While they get their final preparations, give us a little bit of insight into your relationship with these two players.
Yeah, so I've known both Rahul and Sam for a long time. We went to school together at UW. And yeah, both these players sort of relatively new to the top lane as far as their League of Legends careers go. Rahul took a pretty large break. Quite notorious for lane swapping between every single position for fun. And Sam actually displaced out of the AD carry role, unfortunately by me. I'm sorry, Sam. And then we sent him top lane, where good players, great players, must battle out in the jail that is top lane, the jail cell, the island lane. So I'm interested to see how these two top laners convert onto the rest of the map. As far as I understand, both of them really like to play those engaged tanks and be that big in-game leader, call out those fights, call out those engages. So it'll be interesting to see not necessarily the laning phase, but how they each show up in team fights. Who's able to bring that advantage from lane to the rest of the map, and who can set up those game-winning fights for their strong backlines. Because both of these teams have pretty exceptional AD carry mids.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we are going to load into pick bands here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, on the left we have Chili's Angels 5-1, looking to end the first round robin 6-1. On the right side, it will be Team Pokey Card right now on a 2-game win streak at 3-2. And our first ban of the game will be a Vigar ban.
Yeah, for the entering this match, we've definitely seen a pretty gilded run from Chili's Angels thus far, dropping only a single match against Andyland. who I think is considered to be one of the strongest teams in this tournament so far. Pokey Card, though, no slouch. They had a bit of a tougher start at 3-2. That's not something they can't close out. In fact, if they win this match right now, they're going to tie it up their record against Chili's Angels. So this is a pretty critical match in terms of the standings.
Yep. Pokey Card, by the way, just kind of looking forward just a little bit, will also be the end of the week. Their first round robin concludes on Sunday at 9 p.m. So if they win this game, they are definitely in contention to be tied with Chili's Angels in the standings.
I'm going to spin our attention to these bans. 3 mages getting banned out from the side of Chili's Angels. That Morgana is a possible support flex, so it's a flexible champion. On the other side, we see the Hecarim Nocturne ban, those kind of strong junglers who can start fights, and the Seraphine. We're going to have Swain locked in B1. Thoughts on that, Chungus?
Ooh.
I mean, Swain was picked then during when they played at Andyland, and we heard about how it kind of fucked up their draft. It's good that we see Chile on a comfort pick. I think that will settle their nerves a lot for this pick ban.
Yeah, it gives them a lot of confidence to make those proactive plays. It's going to be matched by the Udyr
And a
Senna. Yeah.
Seen a spike in Senna popularity. Got played in LCS. The patch 11.2 buffing her Q interaction with Kraken Slayer. We've seen the Kraken Slayer Ginsu's build as a new build for Senna. The question for me is whether this is going to be a fasting Senna or just a traditional 80 carry that farms out. Because 11.2 also buffed Senna's Wraith drop rate if she is not last hitting, and also buffed the gold gain from hitting those Wraiths.
Very true. Even on farming Senna, though, that extra soul pickup rate is going to come into play in the mid game. Once you start grouping, you let your mid laner wave clear, you get those juicy souls. We see the Udyr locked in as well. This is a bit of a flavor of the month pick, making the rounds in professional play, and it is going to be, my guess, is tank Phoenix Udyr with Phase Rush. That's kind of just the meta build. You're this really obnoxious point and click CC, and you're just a frontliner. You still have the problem that Udyr has, which is you kind of fall off, and you don't have a way to not get kited, but
yeah, you
he
definitely
makes up
don't
for it
want
with his
multiple
CC.
champions on your screen if possible.
Yeah.
Udyr just got hit by nerfs in 11.3. But we should note that 11.3 is out as of this morning.
Yes, very true, very true.
The Udyr buffs or nerfs are pretty minor though. It's like literally 5 damage per rank of Phoenix, I think.
Yeah. Not too good.
So his tempo is still ever present, and his teamfight utility remains unchanged, and his build got buffed actually technically because they buffed. Well, I guess they kind of nerfed Deadman's Plate, but they also buff Force of Nature. So he wants to build both of those Winged Moonplate items so he can start zipping around and just punching people.
Yeah, we'll see how this informs the rest of the bans, because you see pretty sharp differentiation in the draft here. You see these really strong engage tools and fighting tools in the form of Swain Ultimate, Cataclysm, the Lulu Ultimate. And on the other side, we see this Udyr with double support behind it, Senna and Zillion providing utility to accelerate the Udyr into the fight and keep him healthy. I am a little worried about how Udyr is going to fare, running into Jarvan and into Lulu and into Swain. But if he can get ahead early and win those 1v1 interactions against Jarvan, which are possible, and he gets a nice crab start, double crab, there is a way they can run away with the game tempo with this Zillion to just accelerate Udyr straight into their team.
Okay,
Ooh,
a
and a
couple
double
of weak
tank
side
ban.
top lane bans. I think they missed a ban here actually on Chili's Angels as well. Sorry I didn't pick that up. I don't know if that's intentional. I'm gonna check the
Bit
chat
of a
here.
tactical flex. This is a weird situation because
Janna banned. Okay, sorry, they banned Janna.
Okay.
It would appear. So
it's a
that
little
fourth
odd,
ban
'cause
is Janna.
I guess that means they think it's Zillion mid.
Yeah.
It is odd to me that we see PokeCard banning out these tanks, because you should keep in mind Central Rahul and Agent SA have very heavily overlapping champion pools. Both of them have had big performances in the tournament so far on those team fighting tanks, and
So do you pick Ornn
both
here?
teams choosing to take them off the table. Kind of interesting. What's left?
Oh.
Ornn and Cho'Gath are still on the table. And it is going to be
I'm really
Zillion mid
concerned.
Soraka bot.
I'm really concerned for PokeCard's draft here. Their damage profile is super low so far.
Yeah, I guess this implies it's going to be Zillion mid Soraka support. I guess there is a world where you play Soraka top, perhaps. But I think it's most likely to see that Soraka Senna in the bottom lane. They'll have a lot of sustain, a lot of utility, and it looks to me like PokeCard is going all in on this Udyr angle. They pretty much have 3 support champions. AD Senna does pack a lot of damage as well, and has that scaling power, but is not necessarily like a hyper carry or someone who can shred tanks, shred through frontline, of which there will be quite a lot of from the side of Chili's Angels. There's a lot of meat on this comp. We have the Swain, the
even with the
Ornn, the
Kraken
Jarvan.
Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Kale. Speaking of damage, that is certainly a damage-oriented champion. No, it's going to be the Fiora Hover. There are a lot of different options here.
Please.
I feel like
please lock
these
it.
are all
Please
DM
lock
picks
it.
because I
Please
don't
lock
think
it.
these
Please
are
lock
Agent
it.
SA champions, and it's going to be
Oh.
the Nasus locked in.
That's actually really good one.
Okay, so spicy. I think this is our first instance of Nasus in the tournament, if memory serves.
Yeah, the original dog champ himself.
Woof, woof.
This definitely throws a bit of a wrench into my tank top lane mirror prediction. Nasus can get pretty tanky, but he does operate quite differently than a lot of teamfight tanks. He's going to try and use that split push pressure to win in the mid game. I do want to point out, because I think this is a common misconception, Nasus is not a late game champion. Sure, you scale infinitely with stacks, but at some point you're not limited by how much damage your Q does. You're limited by the fact you get permakited in teamfights and then do 0 damage. So Nasus does really have to get the ground rolling at around 1 and 2 items. I think the current meta build is Emax Nasus, but I would be surprised to see anything, because honestly I'm not sure if... I haven't seen Sam play this champion too much, so I'm really down to expect anything here.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard some expert draft analysis from all of us here, but it doesn't matter. What does matter is that the prediction is live. So throw those channel points away. Bet your house on this result.
I'm betting everything.
Oh. And potentially get the opportunity to redeem them for some juicy channel point rewards. At this point on, okay, just remember you can redeem channel points. I think it's 2K for the privilege of asking one of these players a question post game. All right. I will keep an eye on that, and I'm looking forward to hopefully some spicy questions. Yesterday, oh my goodness, there's so many points put up here. Holy shit. So 26.5k already in favor of Chili's Angels compared to just 8.2 for PokeCard. Someone did it really small there. Someone put in like 100 on PokeCard. Whoever did that, I see you.
Yeah, PokeCard there. I think they're definitely the underdogs entering this match, just because Chili's Angels has had a pretty remarkable run thus far.
Yep.
That being said, I'm really interested to see the outcome of this game in particular, because these team comps are totally different. I think so far, most teams have been going for that team fighting style, playing for the early mid game, it's trying to snowball a lead. This is not what we're seeing out of PokeCard. Chili's Angels has kind of assembled pretty much everything they want. This is their ideal draft. They got the Swain, they got the Ash Lulu that they've been super successful with. They have this Galio to deny Udyr engage with Cataclysm. They have Ornn Ultimate. All these redundant engage tools that have kind of been their strength so far. They're great at starting fights, but on PokeCard's side, we see them saying, no, we're not gonna team fight you. We're not gonna play that game that you want to play. We're gonna do something totally different. So they have this split push angle with the Nasus. Udyr could actually go for some off-meta Tiger build. I know I said that Phoenix Tank is the meta professional build and organized play, but this is not professional organized play. And in an environment as chaotic as this, Tiger Udyr can do a lot of damage to your base, especially if you have to pick between stopping Nasus and Udyr, while these triple support just stalls you out in the mid lane. If you try to engage on them, they kite you out. If you overcommit, they counter a Zillion ulti. And on top of that, you still have to think about Soraka ultimate and Senna ultimate interacting with these side lanes. So Gonna have to keep an eye on Pokey Card. Can they use their split push win condition effectively, or will Chili's Angels find the engages they need to seal the game?
Good points, Clovis, and a good timing as well. That will bring us to the end of the spectator delay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to load into the game here. Again, Chili's Angels on blue side, Pokecard on red side. I think you guys should still have a couple of minutes to get those last minute bets in. Alright, might need to close the voting actually because I do not want any level 1s to impact. Yeah, alright, I'm going to close it now. Okay,
True. Don't want that first blood to stack the odds.
true. But as we take a look here, the final tally here will be almost 38,000 in favor of Chili's Angels compared to, I can't see. Oh, there we go. Only 13,500 for Pokey Card. Let's hope that it will be a lot more balanced in the game than in the betting.
Yeah, kind of cheering for an upset here. Like I think the Chili's Angels draft is a lot more traditional. There's like a pretty clear win condition. I think Pokecard's team is a little funky, and it takes a lot of work to get it rolling, but it is a creative win condition. I'll give them that. So I'm kind of hoping to see this Nasus prevail because let's face it, who doesn't like to see the dog run it down?
True.
And we are loading out. From the blue side, we have Central Rahul in the top lane, Riot Beakro in the jungle, Chili 5 in the mid lane, Ikuchi and Amiza 142 wrapping it up in the bottom lane. And on the red side, we have Agent SA in the top lane, Terror himself, Humble Donut on the Udyr, Florizel in the mid lane, and OG Puppy Chow and Pokey in the bottom lane. Their eponymous namesake himself, Pokey.
Herself. Let's get our pronouns right in 2021. Clovis.
Well, I said themself, which meant
did you?
that
I heard
it could
himself.
actually
My
apply
bad.
to anyone.
Oh, I heard
Yeah,
himself.
thank
My
you very
bad.
much. I didn't want to assume their gender.
Very safe. Okay. Looks to be pretty stale level 1s coming out from both teams. Both teams just 5 pointing here. To me, what's going to be interesting is if Udyr tries to start the same side as Jarvan. Doesn't seem to be the case. If you're Udyr, more than happy to fight the crab out with your opposing jungler, as you will be level 4. Jarvan definitely cannot 6 camp into crab at 315. So Jarvan going to do his homework here, going to start on the opposite side of Udyr.
Yeah, it's going to work out favorably for Riot Beakro. He's going to be happy to pad along the opposite side and avoid this Udyr because you don't really want to have to duel Udyr pretty much at any point in the game, but especially not as early level Jarvan.
Right.
Ooh, a nice
Alright,
Q
we got
there
the
by
first
Central
stack,
Rahul.
but it's going to be, already a grass proc traded here. Now, it's Conqueror Nasus. This is, I don't think something we see too often. I feel like we usually see Spellbook Nasus.
Yeah, Spellbook, Grasp.
Hold
all
on,
quite
in the
common,
mid
but I
lane
don't
here,
think
never
Conqueror's bad either.
gonna pull Zillion in. Already favorable trades coming out for the Swain. Seems like no one in this tournament really knows how to dodge that never move. We've seen Chili 5 land a ton of these in the early laning phase and get those soul fragments stacking early.
Bit of a iffy trade there by Puppy Chow. The level 2 advantage comes out for Chili's Angels, but doesn't end up converting too much, and Senna will sustain that back with Serac healing, so no harm done in the long run.
Yeah, I think they're more than happy to trade it out here. Actually, Lulu needs to be careful. I think Senna just dropped an auto there. Could have definitely autoed Lulu for an extra soul there.
Full clear jump.
Jungler's keeping more or less equal pace. Jarvan slightly behind tempo, just because Udyr is a
Just a
pretty
champion
exceptional
diff.
clear speed.
Yeah, there it is. Another never move again. Going to be followed by the Vision of Empire. Now the potential. Ooh, a double bomb going to go completely short. This is Zillion and not having a good time against Swain whatsoever.
And we see some pretty brutal trades, but overall CS across the board still pretty even. We'll see if anyone can eke out an advantage yet. Looks like Rahul actually taking an early back, was it? It looks like a cheater recall slow pushing it in, crashing the third wave, and pulling that wave in. A really smart decision, knowing that he is on the weak side. His jungler is playing for that bottom side crab, and he knows that Udyr can be top because they saw the
Jarvan
bottom
can
leash.
gank here, by the way. You need to be
intelligent
careful if
recall.
you are Senna. Oh, Soraka very heavily overextended here. Gonna get found out by the Jarvan. The W not gonna land either, but a good silence actually gonna stuff the Jarvan engage. Unable to use that flag and drag on top of the silence field. So good Soraka play here. Lulu needs to be a little bit careful. Polymorph gonna prevent any more aggression from the Senna, but that was really well played if you are the bot lane of Pokey Card.
Yeah, we'll see if Humble Donut can trade anything back on the top side of the map, but Central Rahul pulling that wave in off of that wave crash should try and thin this out here, but I don't think he can be dived as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, Udyr though content to counter jungle away the Gromp, so good timing there. Knowing that Jarvan started top side will mean that the Gromp is the first camp to cycle for blue side. Let's see if it does go for the Wolves. Looks like it will not be the case, but is able to get one camp counter jungled away here.
I think Jarvan this game should be playing for mid. For basically, bot has very little setup, and also top lane. I guess top lane would be okay, but Jarvan's not a champion you want a full clear on, and he wasted so much of his early game advantage being a Jarvan by walking around and trying to force bot and also full clearing his jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not gonna outpace the Udyr in the jungle. So
And has
excellent
really
point
good
there.
synergy, obviously, with the Swain. The Swain can use his passive off of the flag and drag knockup. Would definitely spell death for the Zillion, flash or not. Oh my goodness,
The
these
thing I wanna
never moves
highlight
do
here-
not miss.
Ooh, yeah, he's got a magnet clause on that one.
Yeah, go ahead though, Clovis.
Yeah, I do want to highlight the wave control that's happening in the side lanes right now. Actually, really intelligent wave control happening from both teams. Rahul identifying he's on the weak side, pulls the wave in, and then slow pushes it back as Udyr leaves, clearing toward the bottom side. On the other hand, we saw bottom lane from Chili's Angels try to set up a favorable wave, set up the Jarvan gank. Even though that doesn't work, they don't lose too much. Now they're pulling the wave safely under their tower while Udyr was on the bottom side, so they themselves avoid the gank as well. And we see Red shoving in that bottom wave, and Pokey will look to secure an advantage off those favorable trades, get that shove, and maybe get a recall into and get their mana back. So all these small decisions affecting the resource, the attrition that happens in
Senna
the
W almost landing there would have potentially spelled a summoner blown for Ashe. By the way, we have 3 stacking champions in this game, so with a relative lull here, let's take a look. So Nasus on 57 right now. Swain has 7 soul fragments. Senna has 14 mist wraiths, or whatever they're called. I think they're called mist wraiths.
Yep. Might be interesting to note that Nasus is Q-maxing here. This is not E-max Nasus. He is going to be a bit weaker in this early phase of the game without the points in E.
Speaking
Dragon
of weak
started up.
in the early game, Jarvan does not want to contest Udyr here, and with bot lane prio in favor of the Senna Soraka will translate to the first dragon of the game being picked up in favor of Pokecard. Now Swain has to be careful. I was going to get the double bomb from the Zillion. No more burst should come out though, and Swain should be able to recall without any problems.
If Florizel's really technical here, he can actually freeze that wave and recall, but it looks like he's going to push it back and then reset
He can do that
himself.
Swinner's TP here. If he recalls, then he gets denied the.
Good point. Didn't miss out on that teleport timer. Yeah, I guess he cannot hold the wave there. Must shove it out. And we'll look to
Udyr
recall.
looking for some jungle camps that don't exist. By the way, going to be losing a good amount of tempo here. Jarvan actually not doing too bad in terms of keeping up. Obviously, that dragon going to mean that Udyr is not farming his jungle. So Jarvan only 2 camps behind now with the Iron Spike Whip and the Longsword. Going to be building towards that Gore Drinker, which did get nerfed as of this morning. So he still needs to be very, very careful here. And what's really, really interesting, in my opinion, is that he went for the offensive components first, as opposed to the Phage, which would help him stand up a lot more in these mid-game team fights. Jarvan without that tankiness is actually very, very squishy. So if Jarvan is not careful here, that Cataclysm is just going to be a free end button.
Yeah, also, thanks for pointing that out, that we are playing on patch 11.3. We don't have the luxury of tournament client and whatnot, so we are playing on a fresh patch, day of. And that means it's going to really reward teams who are flexible, who are dynamic, who've done their homework and read the patch notes. See if that ends up being reflected in this game.
If he does go for Steroid Score Drinker, I definitely think it's actually nerfed quite considerably. I'd like to see a chem tank or more of a tank build from Jarvan.
For sure. Yeah, Udyr not affected by that, already favoring that chem tank anyways. So itemization changes on this patch definitely favoring the red side jungler here.
CS across the board fairly even, but we do have some discrepancies in the jungle and in the top lane. Udyr is pacing out Jarvan, as is expected, has that fast Phoenix clear. On the top side, though, we actually have a pretty substantial CS lead for Ornn, which I think is a little bit surprising.
To take a look here.
Oh,
Gonna
speaking
get
of the
knocked
CS
up though.
lead,
The
that CS
Udyr
lead
is
might
around.
disappear soon.
Yeah, there are retreat pings there though. Udyr is sighted on the Tribrush ward. Now, I mean, Jarvan will go aggressive here on mid. Catalyst gonna land onto the Zillion. Zillion ulti gonna be used very early actually. Gonna time out here. Udyr on the way to potentially counter gank, but that was a wasted chrono shift from Zillion. Maybe
Jarvan should
expecting a
drop
little bit
Herald.
more burst.
They should know that Zillion has no TP. Drop Herald here. Get three plays.
Ooh,
Probably
Rahul in
more
a bit of a precarious situation. Does not get run down there, but it was quite close. Sam not willing to trade his flash, so both top laners going to keep those summoners, and Rahul is going to take his reset, teleport back on. And that's going to be an evening up of the CS discrepancy in the top lane right there.
By the way, Mountain Soul second dragon, or Mountain Dragon second dragon of the game will mean that we will have either Infernal Soul, which will be very very fun, or a Clown Soul this game.
I mean, I know people do like to meme about Clown Soul, but if you are playing Udyr Nasus, I think you're actually pretty okay with getting move speed. To
The
be
problem
completely
with
honest.
there's a 30-second cooldown on when Cloud Soul can give you move speed, so
That's true.
you need to be very
Gives you
very
10% flat.
specific. You need to be very, very careful about when you want that extra burst. Actually, though, Senna gonna go in for very, very close for some auto trades here. Now gonna bait both the Ornn teleport and the Jarvan gank as well. This will be first blood handed over to Ashe. Ikuji on the Ashe. You're gonna be able to pick that one up. And now Soraka still not completely out of the woods just yet. Jarvan unaware that there is an Udyr in the wings, though. Now gonna be punched here by the Bearman himself. But Jarvan should be able to walk out of here. No damage coming out from this Udyr Soraka combo. And somehow Jarvan has actually leveled ahead of the Udyr in this early game. I don't know how that's legal, but that is the case.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised.
Hold on here in the mid lane, though. Going to be flashing from the Swain. Every move not going to land. Either is the Vision of Empire, though, which will mean that Zillion can just scoot his ass out of here. That was a flash blown by the Swain. The Jarvan would have been there to lock up any follow-up CC. But now, though, the Flag and Drag does land the Absolution over the top. That will mean that Jarvan should go down here. Udyr is going to be able to knock him up very, very soon. Phoenix, one more punch. The Ornn did teleport here in the mid lane. Every move not going to land under the Udyr will mean that he should be able to walk away here. Not enough damage here coming out from the side of Chili's Angels at this stage in the game. And Udyr doing what he does best, just running around with Turtle, Bear, and Phoenix stance and punching people. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, ooh, Ashe gonna go very, very low. Unfortunately, Senna did not already use the ultimate there, so will not be able to lock down the Ashe in revenge. But with the low HP Ashe here, will give Pokey the confidence to start the second dragon of the game.
Yeah, that chrono shift from Zillion coming out saves his life, but it means they pick up the kill and they have tempo.
Yeah, interestingly here, by the way, Nasus TP down for this. So, end to end, not 100% necessary, but still actually coming out 2 levels ahead now of the Ornn. So good wave management if you are Agent SA.
Yeah, we're going to have that Cloud Soul on the map. What are your thoughts on that, Chungus? Are you a believer in the Cloud Soul or a naysayer?
I mean, when people normally talk about when they talk about Dragon Souls, is it a win condition? Will it dramatically shift the game? And Cloud Soul definitely isn't really one of those game winning souls, but I definitely think it helps, especially for because Nasus, Zillion, and they prioritize mobility so much to try to peel off blue side's engage. But I think it's definitely a plus, and it could be a big turning point, even though it's not game defining.
Right. Definitely probably the weakest soul overall, but if there's a game you want Cloud Soul, it's probably going to be this one, right? Like, if it's not good here, it's never
there are
good.
definitely games where it's more useful depending on your composition, but I feel like there are very, very rare situations where you're like, yeah, we would love Cloud Soul over an Infernal or an Ocean Soul. It's just, it's not so much that Cloud Soul is bad, it's that Infernal and Ocean Soul are just so good.
Yeah. It's definitely hard to play around Cloud Soul. It sort of just happens, so I think it makes it harder to notice, right? Like, if you have
For sure.
Ocean Soul, it's like, oh, we can just fight and win. Whereas Cloud Soul, it's like, with that 10% move speed, maybe you got that one pick that you shouldn't have gotten, and then that turns into a game-winning play, but it's kind of subtle, right? It's harder to
For sure.
notice those sort of things.
Alright, Zillion gonna get ganked again by the Jarvan. Jarvan, I think, flashed in there based on the minimap movement now. The Cataclysm gonna land, but there is that Chrono Shift available. Good patience here coming out from Chili's Angels, though. Oh, not just enough. However, now, though, they're gonna be Senna eating some A-Rangers focused here. Udyr not able to find the Swain just yet. Never not gonna connect. Good movement here by the Udyr, but looks like it will be a double kill in favor of Chili's Angels in the bot lane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, NASA should be able to find the Ornn as well. All of a sudden, this game exploding to life. Zillion using the Chrono Shift to good effect there. Udyr not able to find the return kill onto the Swain in the bot lane. Going to be a double kill in favor of Chili's Angels. In the top lane, though, the Kayn is in the game, picking up a solo kill onto the Ornn. It looks like we're not done just yet. In the middle lane, a double stun going to land onto the Jarvan here. Going to be slowed down by the Chilling Smite. One more punch from the Udyr. Going to be able to lock that one up. So Murder Hobo in the mid lane doing work here. 2-0 now. And should be able to get some good damage onto this mid lane turret as well if they choose so.
And huge blows getting traded all over the map. Kills in every single lane happening simultaneously. At the end of the day, it's going to leave the scoreboard at 3-3. Very slight gold lead in favor of Chili's Angels, but those two dragons are going to be in the hands of Pokey Card. And I have to keep an eye on which towers start to fall soon, because that's going to be a big tempo advantage for whoever can move out on the map faster.
I'm going to be very interested here to see if both teams decide to contest this second Rift Herald. Rift Herald generally weaker the second time around than the first time, but it can be a nice little... Oh. Alright, we have a pause. It seems like Ornn lagged his way to dying solo against the Nasus.
Yeah, regardless of the... digital connectivity in the moment of his death, Nasus is going to walk out of the map with 261 stacks and the Divine Sunder completion. Asian SA is going to be really happy with that lane outcome. It's going to be exerting a lot of pressure in the mid game, just like we were talking about. This is Red Team's chance to wake up and run away with the game. Things can get kind of problematic later if they have to team fight. If they fall behind and are getting Ornn engaged on, their backline is really fragile. They have a lot of supports, all of which who die to Ash Arrow or that Call of the Forge from Ornn. But if they can start to accelerate right now, bust open all these turrets, they can just run away with the massive gold lead, and Nasus will be unstoppable.
Interestingly here, by the way, Zillion going to go for the Moonstaff build.
I think
I wouldn't say
Trillia's
it's your
better.
most... I don't think it's your most obvious user of Moonstaff, so what are your guys' thoughts on Moonstaff Zillion?
He has Airy, so his E procs shields, which gives Moonstaff. But I would like to see him go... I think Shirelius is better. Shirelia mid lane after the recent buffs, or recent kind of tweaks where they made it more AP for casters. I think it's actually quite good on someone like Zillion. He can save his E to slow down the engage instead of having to use it on his teammates and himself.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. One thing I do want to mention, though, is that with that Moonstaff build coming out of Zillion, they are actually going to have 3 sources of healing from Pokecard, in addition to the innate lifesteal in both Nasus and Udyr's kit. This could be a blessing or a curse. It means that if they get in those extended fights and are strong enough not to die through crowd control, they will just run away with the team fight afterward. They will just keep on healing, keep on tanking. They will not die until those supports die first. That being said, it means that healing reduction is going to become extremely efficient as a purchase for Chili's Angels. Probably going to see that being picked up soon. Already that Executioner is completed for that Gale Force Ash, so Akuji stopping for those grievous wounds will be applying that to its full effect in team fights.
I think Udyr and Nasus are building towards Merc Treads, but there's not much CC that can be like stopped. It's mostly knockups and slows, other than maybe a Polymorph and the Swain like pull. I'd like to see them go boots of swiftness, because I think all of them, or 4 of Chili's Angels have some sort of slow, and I think the boots of swiftness effect is much more value here.
Yeah, good point. And it looks like we are about to get back into the game here. Both teams readying up. So we will jump back into this game shortly, ladies and gentlemen. The unpause is in effect. Here we go. By the way, let's look at some more stacking. So Senna on 30. Again, she wants those breakpoints every 20, so halfway to her second range and crit chance upgrade. Meanwhile, for the Swain, currently sitting on 14 soul fragments. Again, he gets one of those every time for every champion he hits with his W, that Vision of Empire. One time every activation of his passive, and one every time a champion dies near him.
That's going to be eating some more stacks in the top lane, almost at that 300 mark, and this Nasus is truly a terror. If Agent SA gets on that top tower, he will make short work of it. So we're going to see if Rahul can actually interact with this wave. Being held here in a really dangerous position, I would not feel comfortable trading here if I was Central Rahul, but he may not have a choice.
I think what's interesting here is an avenue for Pokecard to start baiting these dragons as a way to get Ornn out of the top lane. They can position as if they're going to contest for Soul Point, and then once Ornn is forced to join, they let the dog loose in the top lane.
Good point. This soul is not the biggest soul ever, which means that Pokecard can potentially use an opportunity to just enable Nasus to split. They can say, fine, you have this dragon, just like you said, Roger, and yeah, this Nasus can just ult and then start queuing the towers. If you're not familiar with that interaction, Nasus Q has half its normal cooldown when you trigger Nasus ultimate. And if you just queue the tower every other second as Nasus with Divine Thunder and 300 stacks...
Hold on, Nasus still gonna find Jarvan here, trying to do the Herald, gonna go aggressive on him. Ultimate gets used. Oh my goodness, that is half of Jarvan's HP gone in one shot. Unfortunately, Nasus does not have Flash. But with Nasus finding Jarvan here will mean that Udyr is able to start on this Cloud Dragon immediately. Vision of Empire gonna land onto Senna, and the Hawkshot gonna give a little bit of vision, but no smite around should mean that this is gonna be Soul Point in favor of Pokecard. Wow. Okay.
This is quite a match. I know the betting odds were heavily in favor of Chili's Angels, but this is a really new look coming out of Pokecard. Super different than that Karma Top angle we saw from them just the other day.
Definitely. Like we said here, Pokecard no slouches themselves and are 2 wins on the bounce going into this game. So definitely should not be underestimated if you are Chili's Angels.
I think Chile Angels might actually just wait and give Soul just to play around Elder, because they do win front to back 5v5s. I think if they do get Elder and kind of bait them into that and win that team fight, they can just end or get a huge advantage off that fight. That'll be, I think,
one thing that's really surprising is that neither team has broken a tower yet. I guess part of that is that neither of these teams is super comfortable diving, so even though both of them have had winning lanes, there just hasn't been a super consistent way to convert that advantage.
Yep. That first Rift Herald did get dropped bot lane. It looks like it will be a repeat potentially. Senna needs to be very, very careful here. Jarvan coming in for the lane gank, and actually Soraka, without Flash, gonna flash out of the Cataclysm just in time to dodge the Ash Arrow. So really good use of the summoners here by Pokecard's bot lane. Both flashless, however, so could mean the difference in another mid-game team fight. Jarvan's still hanging around here, by the way. And interestingly enough, Zillion, of all people, going to get the first tower of the game in the mid lane. Definitely not my candidate.
Yeah, definitely a surprise for me too, Roger. One thing I'm a little bit disappointed by is I think Chili's Angels did miss a dive opportunity bomb. They tried to take that gank in the middle of the wave. I think it was definitely possible, and then just push that in crash, and then force the tower dive with Cataclysm into Lulu ultimate.
Yeah, and the Rift Herald charge would have guaranteed a dead tower as well. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Wither going on to the Ornn. Now the Fury of the Sands gets used as well. Let's see if Nasus decides to push any farther. Looks like that will not be the case. Ooh, now the Udyr with the current Temple Kentucky now going to aggressive onto Lulu. Absolution over the top. Let's see if there's any more aggression. Jarvan is waiting in the wings. However, Udyr actually going to go very, very low. You're going to get kited out by the Ashe pretty consistently. And now Teleport's going to come in from both Swain and Ornn. Udyr going to go down here. Swain is here. Should be able to land the never move onto this very slow flashless Soraka. Should go down very, very quickly. All of a sudden, 5 members here for Chili's Angels in the bot lane. This Nasus without his ultimate as well, going to be forced to flash away. This Swain now going to flash and let a double never move. Now this Senna trying to kite for her life. Let's see if Swain is able to do it. Not enough just yet. The Flag and Drag not going to be able to find the Senna either, but a huge play coming out. Double teleports for Chili's Angels. Going to turn this one around. Wow.
They did
So
win. They take a turret there. Oh, I guess Ash reset. Wait, what?
Wow, did not expect that fight, but that is the way Chili's Angels needs to play. They set up that team fight, they get the engage, they blow kids up. And unfortunately, for PokeCard, they had to take that front-to-back team fight. They weren't able to leverage the strength of that Nasus on the split push. They weren't able to leverage the mobility of Udyr. If they have to fight front-to-back, they lack their crowd control tools to shape the outcome of that battle. They can't control the terrain. And it means that when fights happen, it will always be on Chili Angels' terms. So it's going to be a close game now. PokeCard is going to battle for that soul point, but with that gold advantage, Chili's Angels will be well positioned to fight for it, and they will not give it up for free.
the couple of things I think are a little disappointing here if you are PokeCard. Zilean, with the second item, picking up the newly changed Chemtech Purifier, which allows him to give the Grievous Wounds debuff to his allies if he speeds them up, for example. But we also see Senna here with the Executioners in hand. That's going to be more or less a dead 800 gold that she could be spending and putting towards her very, very crucial second item in that Ginsu's Rage Blade. Has the Rage Knife right now, but looks like we'll not be able to complete that Rage Blade before the 4th dragon of the game.
And the nice thing about the Moonstone is that in combat, you're pretty much going to have that Grievous Wounds all the time. And it will switch characters, which is pretty convenient, but yeah, it's not necessarily the best item. They do need some healing reduction for that Swain, but not sure they really need 2 sources for it. It's a pretty expensive.
Well, I think the
especially
thing
if
with this
Chemtech
new
Purifier.
item is like you now only your support needs to get it.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, so might potentially be a concede here actually. Interestingly enough, 3 members here for PokeCard in the top, and it looks like they will be conceding Soul Dragon here to try to get some tower pressure. 1 top lane outer turret down so far, but that seems to be about it.
Unfortunately, I think that is the right call for PokeCard, so I agree with them on this part. There's no way they can challenge into the pit against Ash Arrow and Ornn Ultimate still being up. They don't have teleport from Ornn, but I don't think that's going to matter. There's just too much engage and not enough ways to enter the pit safely. So PokeCard splitting open the map, playing an asymmetric game.
Hold on here.
Top lane.
Yeah, I think this is used as wave clear more than anything. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, aggression onto the Zilean. Zilean does use the Chrono Shift here. There is an Nasus in tow, has flash as well. Should be able to get to safety here. So an attempt to dive onto the Time Wizard, not going to be successful here, but will bait a couple of crucial cooldowns.
In fact, neither team able to pull their dive off. Ornn does use that call of the Forge God on the wave, clears that out, and will not be at risk of getting tower dived. Similarly, that nurture from Zilean keeping him lined, so those ultimates getting used defensively. Everyone lives, and it's going to be a reset as both teams return home to shop, walk out with their power spikes.
Not everybody, unfortunately. Senna still without that Rage Blade.
Yeah, always away.
Gonna be hitting quite weakly until she is able to pick that up and then can really start layering those Kraken Slayer autos in there. Gotta be careful if you are PokeCard here not to fight while your ADC is down in items. Because that is the majority of her damage, and Udyr needs to be careful too. A little bit Dora the Explorer syndrome here. Could get an Enchanted Crystal Arrow plus some follow-up, but no one else in the neighborhood for Chili's Angels. Ooh, Ornn though gonna get found out potentially by the Senna. Will mean that Senna is able to harvest some souls, and actually there is an Udyr here in tow. Ornn forced to flash over the wall. Let's see if they decide to go for any more. Looks like that will not be the case. No objectives up really except Baron. Will mean though that this doesn't really translate to anything for PokeCard.
PokeCard is looking to convert
no
though.
flash.
They're controlling the Baron vision. They have Samuel Lee in the bottom lane. Agent SA has that teleport available, which means that he has that favorable 1v1 against Swain and can always teleport to the Baron pit. So one misstep from Chili's Angels, that could be Baron for PokeCard, and that's kind of the breath of life that they need to stay in this game and convert to that soul point.
Yeah, but that being said, they probably have the world's slowest Baron, especially if they don't have Nasus.
That is a very good point. It's a healthy Baron. We can't give them that.
That's true. That's true.
Very healthy Baron, but yes, definitely not a speedrun record right there, hitting it with Senna, Zilean, and Soraka. Udyr is going to tank it for a while, but this is no Tiger Udyr.
This is
He's
not.
going to tickle it.
Okay, let's take a
Phoenix
look at
Claws.
some of the stacks here. So Nasus on 471 at 25 minutes, Senna on 51. So with 650 range now, plus a 30% crit. And for Swain, where is Mr. Swain? Swain on 25. I have no idea what the stacking rate, like what you should have at certain breakpoints.
Yeah, Swain stacks kind of just happen. That
Mm-hmm.
They're not really good enough to optimize around. It's just that once in a while you kind of get a few ruby
Oh, for
crystals
sure.
of health if you're
For sure.
really on top of it. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's not doing bad.
Yeah.
Some solid stacking.
So 25 stacks, by the way, going to translate to 125 bonus HP and damage on the second activation of that Demon Flare. So that's how Swain passive or those stacks interact with that champion. Nasus really needs no explanation. Senna really wants those breakpoints every 20 souls.
Brief clarification, I don't believe Swain Ultimate scales with stacks anymore. I think that was an old part of his kit. So I'm pretty sure with the stacks all he gets is bonus health.
I'm gonna take a look at that.
Gonna have a brief wiki intermission. But as we do that, we see both teams posturing on the Baron. Chili's Angels has a lot of defensive wards in their own jungle. It's quite interesting, but actually makes a lot of sense. Their team has to get onto the Baron pit as 5 and then control with their CC. So they don't really want to have aggressive vision. They just want defensive vision to stop Pokey.
Alright, hold on here. Gonna be a gank onto the Ornn by the Udyr Nasus duo here, but no. No is the operative word. And yes, I stand corrected. I got confused. It affects how much health he gains from when he activates Demon Flare. So it's gonna be that a little bit extra tankiness. So
Yep,
that
there's
HP bonus is
25
gonna get
health.
doubled.
Yeah, pretty solid. And a Ruby Crystal's 150 health, so Swain basically has like 300 something extra gold of health. Never gonna complain about that. That's just free stats that you get from your kit. And they'll synergize with the armor from that Zanya's Hourglass, so Swain will be deceptively tanky with the healing and that armor.
Okay, Dragon Dance here is fully alive. Both the Swain and Ornn with teleport. Ornn already here. Nasus with teleport as well. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. This is to be just some poke here coming out from the Zillion. Zillion, 3 items by the way, does have that Moonstaff core available. Meanwhile, if you are Ornn, you have your first ornament to hand out to your teammates. It's going to be a Typhoon conferred onto the Ashe, and now teleport coming in from the Swain. They're going to land onto the Zillion and pull in onto the Senna as well. This should be a very, very dead Senna and a very, very dead Swain after the Chrono Shift. A huge call to Fortune coming out from Rahul, but now the Chrono Shift plus the flash from the Zillion going to be able to get him out here. The Time Wizard with some nifty moves, but in the end, this will be a huge win for Chili's Angels. Should mean that, yep, the second Cloud Dragon of the game for Chili's Angels, and all of a sudden, again in the lead, bringing this game to a very, very crucial... Ooh, hold on. Vision of Empire going to lay onto the Zillion without the Chrono Shift as well, but a huge stun onto the Ashe to see if this Nasus is able to get into the game here. Woof woof, does not seem to be the case, and there is the Nasus problem here. Going to get kited out, Polymorph. But now another... Oh, actually the Zillion ult is available again, and look at this heal coming out from the Zillion. It is Nasus time, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, Dottie Shadow over the top as well. It will be Swain going down here. Looks to be Ornn followed by that. Lulu on the run as well. Will get stunned by the Udyr. Let's see if they're able to find the Ashe as well. If they're just going to translate this into a Baron. Look at this, so fast. Hobo Man going to find the Ashe here, but no one else is particularly interested in following up. But this will definitely be a dead mid inner turret. Let's see if they decide to go for mid inhibitor or if they decide to go for Baron. Senna is available now with the Ginsus as well, so the world's slowest Baron just a little bit faster now.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to commit for the tower at the very least. I'm actually not sure if they have time to Baron. They are going to go for the inhibitor. I think that might have been a bit of an overreach. I think that Baron would have been really nice because this team has a hard time taking Baron normally. But if they have to reset, I wonder if Chili's Angels has an opportunity to counter Baron.
Ooh, now what could be interesting
Pokey card
here is if Pokey card
intelligently-
elects for a bait here.
Yeah, it looks like
Also,
they're using
you missed
towards
it back
Baron
up.
bit.
Okay. With the Hawk Shot, however, that bait going to be a lot harder to pull off and will not come to be. Now this is what Senna needs to do. He needs to sit here and watch these wraiths die and then just harvest all the souls.
Oh,
It
this
looks
is
like
a
Ash is gonna be
dangerous
last hit.
moment here for Pokecard. They're recalling their whole team while Chili's Angels are in the Baron Pit. They could start this right now if they know what's up.
Yeah, there is the Scuttlecrab Shrine there, so they will be aware of any start. But looks to be not the
Zillion's
case
on
so
blue
far.
buff. Oh, they're not going to start it.
Yeah,
It
don't have
looks
the
like they didn't
confidence
track all the back
exactly.
timers. Yep. Zillion is going to show on the bottom wave, has teleport available, but doesn't really exert a lot of pressure in the bottom lane either. So we're gonna
Yeah,
have a bit
and
of
he
a
really
Baron
wants to
standoff.
recall first. Still at about half
Very good
HP
point.
and mana. So if you're Chili's Angels here, you could potentially look for something aggressive. Ornn still has teleport
Oh,
as
there
well.
it is!
Chad Crystal gonna land onto Udyr though. Should be happy to walk out here. Let's see if the Cataclysms gets used. Nope. So a couple of cooldowns used here onto the Udyr. Don't underestimate that smite being used by the Jarvan. Will mean that if
Yeah, I
he's
think
not
a lot
careful.
of discipline.
Okay, so with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow being expended here, might give... Okay, it will give Pokecard the confidence to start onto this Baron. Let's see what happens about down. Actually, not so
Lulu just
slow
reset.
after all. And Lulu
Just
did
getting-
just reset. Look, that mid inhibitor actually going to do a
no.
ton of work. Swain having to pick up a double super minions in the mid lane. And this is going to go very, very low. Call of Forge are going to be used here to potentially do some damage to the Baron. Nice leash if you are Ornn. Thank you, says Pokecard. And this is going to be an uncontested Baron in favor of Pokecard, taking advantage of the pressure created by that mid lane inhibitor. Good macro play for Pokecard.
Yeah, you want to send someone home to stop the wave, but that person should not be your Lulu support. And it means they give up a lot of control in the pit. They don't have the Lulu steroids to activate their front line and challenge.
And look at this
Oh,
death ball
I'm not
now.
sure that
That
teleport's
teleport's not
gonna finish.
complete. Oh, but actually, if you are Pokecard, maybe you let that complete and then kill Ornn when it finishes.
Good point. It's still going to be a 5v5, and this is going to be what Chili's Angels wants. I'm not sure Pokecard wants to 5-stack here in the top lane. They need to start picking up those other waves.
Udyr's heading mid. I think they can look to force and
Hold
mid.
that
dude.
in. Having this frontline Nasus is a little bit awkward, but he
Hold
does
on,
have
never
three
going to land onto the
indicators behind
Zillion.
it.
Let's see if it translates into anything. Looks like it will
Oh,
not. Call to Forge God is not
so
available for
far.
about another 20 seconds, 15 seconds. So that will be the go button if you are Chili's Angels, but not going to be enough time for this top lane inhibitor turret.
Yeah, they need that go button to really start
And let's
this
zoom out a
fight,
little
and
bit. Let's
that's
watch
it.
this.
That's
Watch
top
the
inhibitor.
Udyr as well. Top lane inhibitor gonna go down now. Let's see. Pokecard should just call for a reset here, but gonna be poking around here. This Nasus feeling himself a little bit with this Moonstaff Zillion behind him. Okay, so now gonna be a retreat here, and Pokecard looking very, very strong here. A couple of really solid macro plays. Not even getting any kills really, but translating that into Baron. And now 2 inhibitors down for Chili's Angels, as Cloud Soul should be taken here very, very soon by Pokecard.
Yeah, it's going to be up in just 8 seconds, and I don't think there's a way for Chili's Angels to challenge this dragon. And I do want to shout out to Pokecard here. They clearly understand their win condition. They understand their team comp. They realized they were losing those front-to-back fights when they were getting caught, and they shifted in toward this split push wave management strategy. And Chili's Angels is having a really hard time allocating their players. They have a good sense of team fighting, they have a good sense of engage. Their teleport usage is quite good, but when they're faced with this side lane pressure, they tend to crack and panic. They're not sure where to go or what to do.
Yep, right now Ashe in the top lane will mean all 5 members of Pokecard are going to converge onto the bot lane. One thing you need to keep an eye out on here, Senna is relatively low mana. I don't think they should try to look for a fight. One Dawning Shadow should be all that she has left in the tank.
Just
So if you're
rotating back in.
Pokecard, you haven't reset basically since you've taken Baron. Well, if you look at the gold here, 2k for Nasus and Udyr, 1.5 for Zillion, 2.3 for Senna, 1.2 for Soraka. So this could be
Looks
a
like
bit of
Chili's Angels has
overstep here.
everything. They have
But never
enchanted
going to land
crystal
onto the
arrow.
Nasus. Here we go. Call the Forge God though going to land onto nobody actually, because the Ornn was stunned by the double Zillion bomb, and now the fight is officially started. Here we go. Swain going to try to 1v4 in the backline here. Should go golden very, very soon. There it is. Meanwhile, for Pokecard here, Udyr try to zone as much as possible. It's the Chrono Shift going to be used here onto Zillion himself, and now this Nasus without any mana going to try to tank out this Ashe. Will not be successful. Senna going to go down very, very shortly here as well. Knocked out by the Jarvan. Going to flash out actually. Jarvan with the Wild Growth going to be slowing down the Nasus, but look at the heals coming out from Soraka. Goodness gracious alive. Ashe is down. This should be a dead Lulu as well. There it is, and this will be game, ladies and gentlemen. There are minions in the top lane, so Pokey are gonna come out on top against Chili's Angels here. It would appear there is a dog waiting to open the gates of Chili's Angels base, and this will be game, ladies and gentlemen. Well played by Pokey. Wow. So
a huge upset. I don't think they were favored going into this, and the
definitely
betting odds
not.
certainly were not on their side, but a brilliant draft coming out of Pokey. They understand their win conditions, they understand the strengths and weaknesses of Chili's Angels, and they put together this really great, really dynamic split push composition. It's a little unconventional. Not sure it's theoretically sound, but it exploits a lot of the tendencies that Chili Angels have. They tend to group, they tend to team fight. And with that, Pokey is going to tie things up on the scoreboard. This is becoming a much more exciting, much closer season than I was expecting, Roger.
Yeah, definitely. Good to see parity in the league, I think. Competitiveness. Pokey, by the way, at 4-2, so not quite 5-2. They have one more game to play to finish their first round robin. This will mean the end of the first round robin for Chili's Angels, so they will finish at 5-2. Pokey with the chance to move to 5-2 on Sunday at 9 p.m. against Don't Worry We Scale. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, overall, just a strong game coming out from both teams. And woof woof, who let the dogs out, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did not expect to see Nasus get debuted in this game, but Agent SA with that sleeper tech, the dark side of the Force.
True.
Busting up Nasus in the top lane. He has the dark side wither. That's a Sith move if I've seen one.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you bet on Pokey, you are very, very rich right now. Goodness gracious. Again, that was, let me see. What were the odds? Yeah, so 37.9k channel points were bet on Chili's Angels. Only 13.6 bet on Pokey, a 3-to-1 ratio. So
you just got paid.
Yeah, just got paid. 51.5k going out to Jeff Pog player and others. Sang B, if you're still here, you asked me what the safe money is and where the fun money is. There's your answer. Fun money wins out, I guess. Pokey gonna come away with the victory here. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can redeem these channel points for the opportunity to interview one of these players. If you're Jeff Pog player, you are flush with cash. I would highly recommend dropping a post-game interview question for the player of your choice.
As we enter the post-game screen, I do want to think a little bit further ahead. What is next for both these teams? Chili's Angels, they got pretty much everything they wanted in draft. They got all their power picks. They got all these champions they've been so successful with. But it looks like that nut has been cracked today. Pokey getting an excellent read, picking a very different, kind of weird offbeat strategy. They didn't want a team fight. They're saying, we're just going to split push. And it looks like that was a challenge for Chili's Angels. I wonder what they're going to pull out next. If they're going to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to adapt this into their game plan. Maybe with some better side wave management in the future. And similarly, Pokey I think people were sleeping on this team. They did get some wins earlier on, but I think they had some unstable performances. They had a bit of a rough run against Andyland. That I think caused some of the teams to underestimate Samuel Lee. HNSA pushing out an excellent top lane performance. This Nasus was instrumental to their victory, so definitely want to keep an eye on this player in the future.
Yeah, I think if you're Chili's Angels, you've had this recipe for success, but they're very linear in their playstyle. Just play for team fights, press R, and win. And something I've been hoping for a while is just a team willing to challenge them, not at their own game, but by playing a different playstyle. Split push is a great way to counter that team fight-oriented playstyle if you have the macro for it. So we finally saw it today. Might give the other teams in the league inspiration as we head into the end of the first round robin. Okay, a couple of redemptions here. So Jeff Pog player asks Sivalok when he's free to have a shoutcasted scrim with all the channel points I just won.
Oh man,
Well, Clovis.
Jeff, rolling in the dough. I'm free in the evenings after I'm done teaching 4th grade, so book an appointment.
There you go. And Roger Fan 69 asks me, what champion would I make my waifu? That's a good question. I'm gonna have to look through the list here. I'm gonna be honest. Not a big waifu kind of guy.
Seeing that
If it's the
comment in
female
chat
champion that I
by-
play the most, is probably gonna be Elise, but she would like literally eat me afterwards. So I'm pretty not down for that.
Not Roger, not into 4, confirmed on stream.
Confirmed on stream. Ooh, this is a hard one, man. Huh?
No females in the jungle.
Yeah, not a lot of female representation. What's up with that? Shavana, I guess. She would also be probably down to eat / crush me afterwards. You guys got me scheming over here.
See a Talia suggested in the chat that is a female jungler.
True. Down to
It is.
get stoned.
Rek'Sai, another popular
Rek'Sai.
female jungler.
Oh, Rek'Sai. Yeah, that's my shit right there. Why don't we? Yeah, Rek'Sai is my answer actually. I'm gonna go with Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is my waifu, no cap. So
Rek'Sai.
feel
Pretty
free to send.
cute, pretty fun.
Feel free to send me those R34 Rek'Sais that you all have. I know it's out there. 2 of us.
As a reminder, this is a wholesome, positive stream, and we love viewers of all shapes and sizes. So.
Exactly. Even if you're from the void, you got fans over here. But yeah, let's get into some post-game interviews, shall we? Codal5 requesting it despite the loss. So, unfortunately, though, I don't know if we have anybody who's redeemed a post-game interview for the players, which is kind of unfortunate. But it doesn't matter. We'll come up with some of our own then. So let's go ahead and let's get Sam and Joel. Let's get everyone in here, and Dustin as well. So I'm gonna ask Joel. Where is Joel? You.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, Joel. Congratulations.
No, thank
so
you.
There is Joel, captain of Pokey Card, coming up with a statement win tonight against Chile's Angels. Talk us through that decidedly unorthodox draft that you guys had.
We had a pretty good idea of what Charles's team was going to play because they've been playing the same thing every game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if we figured if we left Swain up, they were 100% going to play it, and that happened to be the case because they first picked Swain.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided we could play just a double Moonstaff comp with Nasus that is able to eat the fact that his team needs to play close up, and it worked out pretty well.
Nice, yeah. So it looks to be a bit of a bait here coming out from PokeCard. My second question, I'm gonna go over to OG Puppy Chow on the Senna. This new itemization for Senna with the Kraken Slayer Ginsus. How does it feel playing Senna on this patch?
I mean, not trying to give too much away, but I absolutely love the champion. I adore the fact that Rage Knife just like instantly takes away her damage reduction from her passive, from the crit strikes, and just like scaling overall. But yeah, no, she's definitely one of my favorite ADCs on this patch. So
awesome,
cool.
Yeah, solid Senna play. Do you know how many stacks you ended with, just out of curiosity?
Kind of garbage, like probably like 78. I don't think I ever got to the 4th tier of it. So I mean that is a low fighting game, low damage game, and that's normally where Senna gets her stacks as ADC is when you're getting kills and pulling them off of enemies. So there wasn't too much of that game, but not too disappointed.
For sure. Okay, well, Clovis, I feel like you should be the one to ask Sam his post-game question, so I'm gonna leave it to you, if you
All
don't
right, we'll
mind.
close out this interview with Samuel Agent S.A. Lee, the man, the legend. He's done it. He's built the top canyon and come back alive. What are your thoughts on this game, Sam? With that showcase performance on the Nazis?
So yeah, like Joel said, we when we were discussing like compositions, we were like, what if we? Because like if Chile's team is going to play the same thing every game, we're going to have to play against it at some point. So it's like, what if we draft a composition that we think can kind of beat what they're playing? And that's when the Gnosis came in. And I'll admit, Rahul gave me a little bit of a run for his money the early lane. You know, it was rough. Orin's a pretty balanced champion with Brittle Proc and Grasp. But after a while, I hit the stack, and then I hit the stack, and then I ran bottom lane, and I got stacks. And then after we had a little bit of an oopsie, I was like, wait, I'm a Nasus, and I have Soraka, Zillion, and Senna steroids. And then I gave them D Kane.
D Kane indeed. You have some D Kane, D Gates fans in the chat for sure.
Thank
Do you
you
know how many
very
stacks
much.
you
I
ended
do
with?
It was like mid 500s, maybe 600. It was not that much of a stacking game, but you don't really need that many stacks when you are
Right.
unkillable. So
Right.
Do you want to add one more question? This is for the team as a whole. Definitely seeing some pretty, I guess, not necessarily simple, but maybe more single-minded teams. They have something they're good at. They're playing to their strengths. They're kind of assembling that key strategy every time. Two teams that I have in my eye on that kind of break that mold are Andyland, who have shown us pretty different drafts every game, and this team as well. Pokey Card shows a different strategy every game. Sometimes that doesn't work out so well for you guys, but other times it pays off in dividends, as it did in this game, giving you a pretty big upset. We're not the favorite to win this game in the betting odds, but people put big money, the believers in your team made it out big with the cash out. Are you a little worried showing this strategy so early on in the tournament, or do you have a lot more where this came from?
Now I feel pretty confident that we can just flex around a bunch of stuff. It makes it harder for teams to prep against us because we can always just pull back any of the older strategies as well if they choose to ban out one of them. So I feel pretty confident moving forward.
In the words of Wu-Tang Clan, you gotta diversify your portfolio. So good point. Good point. A lot of different strats coming out from Pokey Card. Okay. Clovis, you have any closing thoughts?
I do, in fact, Roger, and I will leave you with this pearl of wisdom before we close out the stream, and it is this. The Premier League of Legends roster is this one. How can anyone defeat Sam I Am Top Canyon by Dr. Seuss or Joel definitely not Float So Florizel in the mid lane? Derek out-eats Cop's Humble Donut, out-jungles everyone and their mother to boot. Plus, with the OG Dustin Pug Life Puppy Chow going mutts with the team fight DPS, and Lucy Pokemon Fire Red catching them all in lane, the bot diff is real. How can anyone defeat such an overpowered roster?
Well said, indeed. Doesn't seem like Chile's Angels has an answer to that question tonight. Okay, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, that will bring us to the end of tonight's stream. We will be back at the same time tomorrow, 8 p.m. PST, for a matchup between Andyland and Support Diff. Don't miss it. Good night, Twitch chat.
Yeah, thank you, Roger.
Thank you very much.
Twitch chat.
Good night.